Hi, I'm Leah Montalongo, and welcome to Spiritual Warrior World Podcast, Episode 4. Joining us today is the infamous John Parrish. Some of you may recognize him as Jax from Mortal Kombat 3. He's a castmate of mine and one of my favorites, but we are not talking Mortal Kombat today or just yet. We are talking spiritual warrior and what it means to be a spiritual warrior. John is going to take me through a little bit of a workout, and we're going to talk all things about spirituality. But let John say hi and introduce himself.
Hey, hello everybody out there. Hey, yes, I'm John Parrish, Mortal Kombat 2, 3, and the Ultimate. And yes, Lee and I are castmates. Been friends, longer than probably most of my family, over 30 years. Okay? But yes, our commonality is, besides spirituality, is fitness, health, and well-being.
That's right.
Okay, so everything is not what you think it is. This is not just a game, this is part of your life. So we love to have fun. Right now, we're at one of my studios down here, Napier 300 Elite at 1329 North Route 59. It's just one of the places I teach and train at. But we're going to have some fun today and maybe educate you about things that are very simple and don't take life for granted.
That's right, John. John's going to take me through a little bit of a workout, and as we go along, I'm going to ask John some really interesting questions. So come along for the ride.
All right.
Here we go.
Right now, we're going to start off what we call the incline dumbbell press. Okay, there are many variations to it, but we're just going to do a standard one. The bench is set at a 30 to 35 degree angle. That's where it should be, not like some places at 45 degrees. It's for your shoulders. Ready, Leah? Let's jump on down.
Let's do it.
Leah will pick a weight that is nice and comfortable for her in the beginning. We're going to do about 12 to 15 reps. We lean back, chest up. And then we just roll it with the flow with a nice arc. Everything is an arc. Just remember that. It is an arc. That's how the muscles move. Okay, you exhale every time you exert force, or what we call the concentric motion. And the eccentric, we inhale on the way down. Okay? This is working the upper pecs. I love incline because it's the least exercise work for the upper pectoral muscles. Now remember, you've always heard Arnold and everybody else says, no pain, no gain. That does not mean hurt yourself. That means put your mind into the muscle. And when she's at 12 to 15, she can stop and rest. Your rest period is variable. 15, 20, 30 seconds, depends on you. It's, to us in the fitness world, those numbers are really arbitrary. It's how you feel.
Do you recommend some stretching during that time when you're resting in between your sets?
Always, as a bodybuilder, yes, we stretch. We open up what we call the fascia, which is a thin membrane that connects the muscle tissue to the bones. So you want to do that, and then you take a deep breath. Once you feel that you're ready again, then we do another set.
Now, should I increase or decrease my weight?
How do you feel? Does it feel like you can go heavier? If you do, and your muscles are warmed up and primed, then I suggest go heavier.
Okay. Not
too heavy. We're not trying to hurt. This is not about pain, not that type of pain. So let's hit it. Good. That's 10. 2 to 5 more. It's up to you. Keep the form. If you notice, she has her chest up. Shoulders are receded. Squeeze nice with that arc. Okay, breathe in nice. Push it out, and then we rest.
Ooh.
Now, whenever we do chest, you open it up, stretch it out a little bit, because when you're doing presses, the assistant mover is your triceps. Okay, your stabilizer, okay, is your shoulders, the entire capsule, front, rear, and back, okay, and the side. So your chest is always up, get set, deep breath, then you drive. Last set, let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
She's going heavy. And don't be afraid to go heavy. We don't want it to where you can't lift it, but we at the same time, we don't want to keep doing what we say the same amount of reps over and over and over again, like 12, 12, 12, 12. You try to go heavier every single time. Now, even in my classes when I teach them, I said, we only get 15 seconds in between each set, and that's a transition, unless we're doing legs or back or chest, which are your compound movements. Looking good, looking good. Let's push it. All right.
Woo. All right.
All right.
Oh, I felt that.
And we're just warming up.
We're just warming up.
Okay. So, any other questions you want to ask me?
So, John, for our viewers, one of our first questions that we ask all of our guests, and we want to ask you because we want to know, what do you think it takes to be a spiritual warrior?
A spiritual warrior, in my opinion, you have to, one, be comfortable in your own skin. Okay? Even as a trainer, I can motivate you, but that's a temporary thing. But after I leave, then what are you going to do? Okay? All of the noise outside, all of what we call our haters, no, you ignore them. Be comfortable with yourself. Okay? Sit down, meditate at least, 10 minutes a day. Get in contact not only with yourself, but with all your surroundings. Okay, like even when we're lifting weights, you're not just pushing the weight. Okay, you're actually getting in tune the muscle with the weight to feel it. But you're only not just feeling it physically, you must visualize exactly what you want to be. So you want to be a spiritual warrior, you want to be a warrior, you want to be a barbarian, whatever. They all have one thing in common. It is confidence in themselves. Okay, you must feel comfortable in your skin.
I love that. I love that. All right, our next question for you is, two characteristics. Now you already hit on those really, but feeling confident, what other characteristic do you think comes to mind to cultivate that spiritual warrior?
Discipline and dedication.
Yeah.
Okay, I tell my wife this, I tell everybody, I cut no corners, I am not a PC person. You cannot make an excuse of why you cannot do something unless, I tell people, are you dead? Okay, if you're not dead and you're 6 feet above, that's the blessing already. Okay, number two is I said, no, you can make time. I mean, how long I see people on the phones doing this? I said, I catch myself sometimes, and I'm like, whoa, I've been here for like 10 minutes. What am I doing? I mean, I could be doing something else. So you have to be cognizant of time, cognizant of yourself, your awareness. You must be dedicated. I mean, your health is number one. Okay, and a lot of people forget that. And I tell them I ask them simple questions. Who is number one in your life? Okay, don't tell me God, don't tell me your husband, don't tell me your children. It is you, because if you fail physically and mentally, which always happens in spirituality, everything else fails. So you have to try to balance them all together. That dedication, you got to want to do it. I can't make you do it when you leave here. I mean, if you want to follow the program, the eating, that's up to you. Okay. Especially if you're paying for it, I'm like, yeah, okay. Okay. But then I feel bad because I'm like, oh, come on, we can do better than this. But it's all about you.
Yeah.
Okay, take care of yourself first, everything else falls in line.
Yeah. That's amazing. Really great answers. I know our viewers are going to love this. This is one of those I already feel that's going to be watched a lot, because this is something that I know about you, from 30 years ago. We met, on a gym
World
floor.
Gym.
We
World
met at
Gym,
World's
way up
Gym.
on Montrose.
Yeah. And, for you, I mean, I admire you so much, because it really is, this is your life. This is what you do for a living. You are all about health and fitness. But the spirituality aspect of it, is that something that you work on to develop, or do you think that's just been there along the journey from the beginning?
No, actually, I had to work on that. And it's still work.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, every day of self-development is basically what they don't tell you in all of the videos that you watch on YouTube. Self-development is really about connecting to oneself and to a higher power. Okay. That's what that's all about.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, then not all of this is for naught.
Yeah.
Okay, even the most, if a lot of the motivational videos I listen to with bodybuilders, some of them are cursing it, but most of them are founded and grounded in their faith and their spirituality. That's what keeps them going. Okay, and then their family becomes second. Okay, because if their spirituality and faith is off, everything else is going to be off.
Yeah.
So you have to, work on it, cultivate it. Look at the environment we live in now. Look at how everybody's torn left and right, family against each other. I said, but if you can keep yourself grounded in your faith and your morals and your values, all of the rest of it, you might make some people unhappy along the way, but to me, I tell some people, I said, well, that's a personal problem with them, not me. Because it goes back to my first statement. I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah, that is so empowering. I have to say that I feel the same exact way. I really found, for me, always physical fitness has been an outlet and a release for me, and it was really where I developed my connection with my higher powers through my first love is the gift of dance. And just turning on that music and being in my body and in my breath and in my sweat. And I find that for me, in the darkest moments, that's where I found the light, is really cultivating that inner strength, that inner power, that self-discipline. Now, this leads me to my next question for you. Have you recently or ever gone through a time where you really had to dial in deeper to your spirituality? And if so, would you mind sharing that with our audience and kind of share what you did, John Parrish, to get through that time?
Yes, I could actually say it's been several bouts of it. Throughout, I would say maybe 2 or 3 decades, because our family loves to drink. Okay, so whatever gene they say we have, we have. Okay.
I'm sure there's a lot of families out there that have that gene.
And I don't really talk about it a lot, but yes, it's been times if I figured out 2 correlations, especially the most relevant one, because I had a mild heart attack last September.
Yeah.
I did not compete for an entire year. When I don't have a focus and a competitive drive, I found everything goes wrong. It's not good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not only for you, but for me.
For you.
I said, because it gives me a focus of constantly planning and moving. I said, yeah, businesses, running this and that, dealing with people.
It's for your own.
I said, this is for me. That is my drive. What motivates me is, I just like to keep doing it. It feels good. People say, do you do it to win? I said, no, it's not really about winning. It's good to win. Okay, don't get me wrong. I said, but that's not what it's for. It's an exhilaration that I went through 10, 12 weeks of whatever it was I went through figuring my body out, figuring my mind out.
Yeah.
I was able to sit down, meditate, and watch my body do some amazing things emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Yeah.
And people say, what? I say, oh, you learn your body in the fitness world.
And it's always, and it changes.
And it
too.
changes after every show. After every show, I told them, I said, after every dieting cycle, I said, something changes in my body.
Yeah.
So what I did last time, can't do this time.
Right.
What I can get away with, can't get away with. And I said, remember, I'm older than most of the people I compete against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been craving to get back to stage. So for me it was, I had been, so then that started my training and my competing for about 10 years and then I moved to LA and I did the whole West Coast thing. And then becoming a single mom, what happened for me was I lost that opportunity to be in the gym training 4 hours, 5 hours. And similar to you, it's like, you have those goals, you don't have sight of that. And I love being a mother and all, just like you love being a father. I know I've seen you with your daughter. I know how important she is to you and your family. But having that outlet, and there's just something to be said, I think, especially for those of us maybe a little bit more attracted to this specific field, talking to people that don't understand, giving them a sense and a source. It's like, I think about Arnold Schwarzenegger all the time and that drive. And you kind of remind me of that. It's like, it just is that way. Like I teach classes all day, just like you now. And people are like, don't you get tired? Aren't you tired? It's like, if I'm not doing this, something is wrong.
Something is wrong.
I've experienced depressive states, I've experienced sadness, I've experienced those. But similar to you is I've always, and I have talked about this very socially, is like the power of positive thinking, the Tony Robbins, because...
Yeah, I mean, I listen to Tony Robbins, I listen to Coach Payne, I listen to Arnold Schwarzenegger, I listen to even Seth Feroce. Okay, and people say, but, I said, listen to what they're saying and equate it to what you do.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, mental illness is here, it's been here forever. I said, how you're going to deal with it is going to determine your outcome of your life. It's your life.
And I believe from my own experience and knowing my family and knowing the genes that we have, that because I found fitness at such a young age, I would lock myself in the garage after school and dance for 4 hours because I felt safe, I felt good, and I knew I was doing something positive. My other alternative was hanging out in the streets on the south side of Chicago, maybe not taking those choices, And I think it's important that we're open about this because we look a certain way and we do this for a living. And even that we're celebrities, people think, oh, your life is so easy and you've got it made and you're always so happy and you're such an inspiration. But I have found that it is my call and purpose as well, which is why I was so inspired to start this podcast. I started this during COVID. And I knew at that time I wasn't going to be able to see my community and teach them in person. I wasn't going to be able to work out with them in person. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good.
This is going to be...
This is not going to be good.
I mean, I walk out on garbage day and I see more recycle bins full of wine bottles and liquor bottles. I'm like, what is the whole...
What's happening?
What's happening?
What is happening?
There are other ways to deal with it. But first, you got to understand your purpose and your spirituality with a higher power, whether it's God, whether it's Buddha, whatever, whoever. But you need to have that connection first.
Yeah.
And then you can hone everything else, and then the rest of it falls in place.
What a testament you are to that, too.
And he said, what? I said, oh, yeah, it's not easy. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. I said, but it'll come to you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you asked me at the age you are now when he was like 32. Okay, and then he had asked me that. I said, because I could not ask my parents that. They would not divulge, plus they did not know.
Yeah. And now is a different kind of day where we're open about it, we talk about it, we have tests to run on brains now, We understand that different chemicals, different things have different responses. Hormones.
Oh, hormones, women.
Dietary changes.
Yes. Anything that you alter. And people said, yes, you can change your genome. And people say, what? Oh, yeah. Trust me. Do what we do. You'll figure out every time your body changes, it's now readapting to something different.
Yes.
Okay. But you also readapt in your mind.
Yes.
But if you focus your mind on negative, well, you'll be destructive and negative.
Yeah.
If you focus on positive and be around positive people, you will actually be happy.
It changes you at a cellular perspective too. Yeah.
It makes you, I mean, you have a glow about you, you'll feel good, you'll feel calm when you're positive. Now, I mean, that's not to say that you'll never get angry or upset. It's just that most of the time you want to be peaceful and at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
And once that connection is there, then you know that you are spiritual.
Yes.
Okay, and then I tell a lot of people, they said, well, you know, all of this stuff. I said, you are in perfect sync with the Earth's planet.
Yes.
Did you now know that?
Yeah.
The biorhythms is real.
Yeah.
It is not fake, which is part of your spirituality.
Yeah.
You are energy. Now, you can be negative energy or positive. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Me, I've learned one thing in retrospect, looking back at my life. I said, it cost me more physically to be upset and angry at somebody or something than it is to be positive and calm. It took so much out of me. You know, people say, what? I said, well, have you ever gotten to the fight-flight syndrome thing? And they say, yeah. I said, have you noticed when it's over, then you just totally drain.
And you're exhausted.
And you're exhausted.
You sleep for like 3 months.
Yeah, and they like, maybe not 3 months, but it might be close.
You sleep a lot.
Yeah, and people said, oh, I said, that's negative.
Yeah.
Now, go to the gym. Even if you're mad, just go to the gym.
Yeah.
These weights are just waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
God,
Battle ropes, ski rope, just get on there and ski.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if you can't get to a gym, you got a basement, you got YouTube, right? Yeah. Well, find you a workout on there and just do it.
Yeah.
And then when it's over, whatever you were thinking about negative,
you're going to feel better.
You're going to feel better.
You're going to feel better because you have the endorphin release, you have the oxytocin release. You literally shift the perspective. I'll share one thing I used to do. I've talked about this to myself. I would get into these really big fights with my mother growing up as a teenager, like really bad. And, you know, she would say horrible things to me. And I was dating Brian at the time, and I was training for my first fitness competition.
Ooh.
And I would go in and I would use that as ammo. But what I did was I would rethink everything hurtful that she said, and I would repeat it in my mind as positive. Like, I love you, you're such a good daughter, you're going to do great, those types of things. And I don't know if maybe I read it in like a Tony Robbins book. I was so young and a seeker. I was, into Deepak Chopra and all those. And I learned years later that what I was doing was I was changing like the neurons in my brain. And I was reprogramming that anytime I had that negative response, I was learning how to self-soothe. I was basically parenting and doing positive things. Now, it doesn't mean I haven't had my own personal struggles, but it is when I am away from the gym, from this lifestyle, eating well, being around other like-minded. So I have compassion in people, and maybe some of our viewers who are watching this, and they're like, oh my gosh, because I have too. I've trained thousands of people, which I'm sure you have. I feel for the ones that don't have the ability to pull themselves out. Now, I want to ask you to speak to that. If we have somebody who's watching us and they're like, they think they can't get to the gym, they think they're too overweight, they think that maybe it's not worth it. Is there something that you could share to speak to that about your experience as spiritual warrior? What's the gain in being that spiritual warrior on the other side?
It's multifaceted to explain it from my experience, because when I went once I left the physical fitness world in 1994, I became corporate IT. Smoking, drinking, partying with all the attorneys and insurance people, got bigger. And then 20 years later, then all of a sudden, my daughter's, I had to go to the doctor. And the next thing you know, he says, John, what the heck happened to you? Your blood pressure is this, your cholesterol is this, and you're hypertensive, and I'm going to prescribe you this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, about that, because each one of those drugs were on that 1-800-BAD-DRUG commercial.
Yeah.
And then I would come downstairs, and then I'm sitting there watching TV, eating M&Ms, peanuts, and then I got all my memorabilia.
Yeah.
And it's like they were looking at me.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Okay. And then one day, it was an epiphany. I was just laying in the bed, and I had no shirt on. And my daughter looked at me. I think she was about 10, 11. She said, Dad, you got moobs. What? All right, we're going to fix this. So what I did was, you have to make a conscious effort. Again, going back to my first statement, you got to be comfortable, and not only comfortable, but honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You got to look in the mirror and say, yeah, this is just not a good look. Okay, the doctors done told me it doesn't look good. Now my daughter's telling me I'm huffing and puffing. And God, that means to me, God is giving you all of your little warnings along the way. Now, you have to be so, honest with yourself and say, if I was to get sick or die, who's taking care of me?
Yeah.
Now, you flip the script and say, if they're taking care of me, and these are your kids or something like that, that means you're robbing them from their life. Because now they got to drop everything they're doing to help you. Because you didn't do due diligence to keep yourself up and active. So for those in the audience out there, if you feel like you're hopeless, you're not. Okay? But be honest with yourself.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, you gotta be honest with yourself. Because the first thing they tell you in counseling is, if you're in denial, it ain't gonna work. It just ain't gonna work, okay? So as I tell people when they come into class or they text me, oh, I can't make it, I couldn't get up. I said, that's a lie.
Yeah.
And my wife looks at me and says, why are you so harsh? Because it's the truth.
Yeah.
Understand the truth of who and what you are. You are much more than what you think you are. But you're gonna have to dig deep and be honest and say, let me make a change. You have everything now. When I started fitness, we didn't have all this.
That's right.
We did not have YouTube. We didn't even have a DVD player.
Or a cell phone.
Or a cell phone. What was a cell phone?
What was a cell phone?
Come on.
We barely had a pager.
Remember Muscle and Fitness? Remember Muscle? It came out 3 months after the shows.
Yes.
That's when we get to see everybody.
Yes.
It was already done. Okay? So everything's live now. You have no excuse. I'm going to run Leah through the deadlift right now. We're going to do about 3 sets of 10 to 12. Okay? But these are going to be, there's many variations of deadlift. Okay, what I want her to do is the Romanian deadlift, what some people call a bent knee deadlift, or a stiff leg. No stiff legs. Okay? But your knees are partially bent. The object is to hinge at my hips. Okay? The knees stay in one spot and you come back up. This is to work your hammies and the bottom tie-ins of your glutes. Okay? There really should be no pressure on that back. This as far as you go and you come back up. Ready?
Yes.
Let's hit it.
All right.
We got 10 to 12.
Where's my grip, John?
Your grip is whatever is comfortable to you.
Okay.
Your foot position, not wide, but a little about shoulder width apart.
Okay.
You want to come down, bring the bar in close, bring it in close to the shins.
Okay.
Butt down,
Woo.
chest up. and drive. Drive straight up first. That's your set position. Roll my shoulders back. Now, hinge. Right below the kneecaps, back up. As one. There we go. Now, if you look at her thighs very carefully, watch the hamstring pop out. Glutes activate. Soon as you come up, soon as you get to the top, push in with the hips. Squeezing the glutes. This is the whole object. Okay? You inhale on the way down, hold it, and then exhale on the way up.
Yeah.
Nice tempo. This is not meant to be done fast. It's a very controlled movement, otherwise you will hurt yourself. Give me 2 more. Push my hips forward at the top on this last one. It's a thrust right at that top. And then slowly, slowly let it back down with control.
Oh.
That is how you work the deadlift.
I got
the Romanian deadlift. Okay, unlike, we're going to demonstrate a regular deadlift.
Okay.
Okay, now we have what we call the conventional or sumo style. Sumo is with your legs, your feet will be way out here, and you will be straight down in the center. But the concept is still the same. That bar is real close to the shins. It's going to ride straight up, just like that. Come straight back down. It's in your hips. Everything is in your hips. Okay? Do not bend. The conventional way that you see them in every meet, just like a Romanian, except for when you're down here, keep it right on that shin, chest up, back straight, roll it right on up, and back down. Okay? This is how we do the deadlift.
Didn't know you had such good form, John.
You do it every day.
Oh, goodness.
And I do it to music.
Yes. Me too. All right, what am I doing next?
What you want to do?
I want to try the one that you showed, the sumo.
Sumo? Okay.
Yeah.
Legs wide, plie up my toes.
Okay.
Hands right in the center. Drop the butt way down. Chest is up, shoulders are back. Pull the bar in.
Okay.
Okay, drive. Straight up.
Yeah.
It's all in the legs and the hips. And then squat straight down. Let it roll on the thighs. Back down in the center. Drive it straight up. Let it tap the floor. The top is your release.
Okay.
Little tap. Boom. And up. Give me 3.
Yeah.
Give me 2 more. Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
1 more. Now that she's loose, you can see how her form has changed.
Yeah.
And rest.
Oh, well, I think I'm going to have to come work out with you.
But that's a deadlift in a nutshell.
Be a warrior. Stay a warrior. Be inspired. Stay inspired. Join our community. This is Spiritual Warrior World.